Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Talking Elite Fitness. I'm Sean Woodland, joined by Tommy Marquez. Tommy, how you doing?
You know, sports teams aren't doing great, but I am. So
there you go. And you're enjoying your last couple of days of being not a father.
Yes,
so that's
indeed.
Life is about to change, my friend. And proudly featuring Lauren Khalil. Lauren, how are you?
I am great. I am wearing my heated blanket right now,
really?
So life is pretty good.
It dipped into the 70s here, and it was a little overcast. So I'm like, okay, it's officially fall. But it was a little chilly. I got the had to put on a long sleeve shirt and
Oh,
right. I know we're really roughing it out here. But we got a lot of stuff we want to talk about today. Have some highlights from some competitions that went on this past weekend. Talk about that. Have some other headlines, things going on that you may have missed from this past week. And later on in the show, we are going to be talking with, Lauren and Tommy spoke with, the 4-time Canada's strongest woman, Sam Belliveau, who is going to be competing at the Rogue Invitational, and I believe has the world dumbbell record press. I want to say that's a thing.
Yeah.
Yes, watched her do that, I think, at the Arnold Strongwoman Classic, which, by the way, the Arnold Strongwoman Classic may have been more entertaining than the Strongman Classic. There were so many great moments in that, and I'm really looking forward to seeing them, on the big stage now at the Rogue Invitational. But before we get into that, we want to thank. We have new sponsor alert, so we have to hit the new sponsor horn. That is Kreatures of Habit, high protein overnight oats. This stuff is fantastic. They come in little packets, and literally you put it. You have a container. You put it in the container. Put some water in it. Put it in the fridge. Forget about it. You have a meal for either the next morning or the next day. I've been using this stuff for every day, really, for the past 3 weeks now. They have 30 grams of protein, plant-based, probiotics and prebiotics, omega-3 healthy fats are in there. It's dairy-free, gluten-free, no GMOs, and it's soy-free. This stuff is absolutely great. They have a bunch of different flavors that come in packets. You can check them out at creaturesofhabit.com. That's creatures with a K, creaturesofhabit.com. Or you can scan that QR code that is on your screen right now. We have a code. It's TEF. You're going to save 20%. And if you're someone who's pressed for time during the day, as Tommy's going to be soon, literally this stuff takes 2 seconds to set up. Pour it in, water, stir it, fridge, done. And
talk about serendipitous timing, right? Like I'm about to basically need a quick grab and go breakfast. Really, I don't know if I'll be able to see straight in a few weeks, but just having this as part of the working into the daily routine for me and my wife now has just been awesome. Like you mentioned, the flavors are great. Maple, I got a little chocolate peanut butter one. There's a strawberry walnut that's fantastic. Don't even have to worry about adding sweeteners or anything like that. Just dump it. I use 3/4 of a cup of Fairlife and another quarter cup the next morning to kind of mix it in. Another extra 13 grams of protein.
Yep.
Beautiful.
It's great stuff. Creaturesofhabit.com.
Individually packaged, so it's really easy to travel with. Yeah, and it can fit into your purse, fit into a travel bag, and gives you a guaranteed breakfast that's going to get your protein in, because sometimes you don't know when you're going to get it next.
Or for me, midday snack. It's my midday snack. Eat it around 3 o'clock. So big
Build afternoon Marquez.
Exactly, afternoon Marquez. Yeah, don't have the coffee with it, but definitely have the afternoon snack. So check them out, Creatures of Habit. That's creatures with a K.com. Our code is TEF. You'll save 20%. Okay, let's get into the headlines for today. Last week we talked about Roman Khrennikov making the announcement on his Instagram page that he's going to miss the rest of the offseason, hopefully be ready for next season. And then we found out what exactly that it's going to be. And the Barbell Spin had this on their Instagram page, but he's going to go, Roman is going to undergo surgery for a hip injury.
Yeah. Labral tear, cam morphology, which involves the femoral head impingement in the joint. Usually those two things go hand in hand. Some of the impingement and the morphology of the femoral head can affect and cause a labral tear. In his Instagram, he states he's going to be ready and focusing on the season. The typical, honestly, it's that, most places will tell you 4 to 6 months, but it can be anything between 4 and sometimes a year plus. I've had friends with labral tears that it took years before they were able to get back to a movements, patterns, and strength that they had before. And it really depends on the sport, right? With the hip socket, you see these types of injuries, whether it's like running, soccer, football, that require dynamic movement, or if you have like the shearing forces of like load, which we have quite frankly more so than most sports, I think, in terms of the variety. It's gonna be tough. You just hope Roman's able to get healthy. It's not as serious as it can be. It was a second opinion that took them to find it in the first place. So hopefully it's not crazy bad, and they caught it, at a stage where they can fix it pretty quickly. But either way, unfortunate timing, and hopefully it wasn't too painful, because that stuff can really trip you up.
Well, now he's saying, isn't he, that he's going to be ready for the season?
Did he announce a surgery date? Because if it's the 4-month, he might be okay.
Yeah, I imagine he's probably already had it, or it's pretty close. Well, it's probably something you want to get done as quickly as possible and get that clock starting.
And I imagine Roman Khrennikov with one hip can probably qualify for the quarterfinals in the Open.
Yeah,
he did pretty well on one foot a couple of years ago. So
yeah, and he says it's something that he's had since semifinals. So like, and who knows how where the injury was relative to when it happened in semifinals. Like if it progressed or if it healed and went back and forth, and where it is now, relatively speaking. But it's definitely something he's been able to manage. So. It's a little bit different, though, when you're rehabbing from surgery versus you're trying to manage an injury.
Yeah. Okay, well, the next thing that we're going to talk about, and Lauren, you brought this to our attention the other day, is that the next big offseason competition after Rogue is the Dubai Fitness Championship. And Roman was actually scheduled to compete not only in that, but also the Invitational. Well, now they've changed. Dubai has their qualification process. What happened with that?
Yes. So originally they had stated, I think on Competition Corner, where everybody's logging their scores, that 30 men and 30 women would qualify through the qualifiers. So that was the communication for the athletes, the understanding. And then as they were going through the verification of scores, finalizing the leaderboard, there was an update on Competition Corner that said that now they are taking the top 28 men, 28 women, and then sending invites to 2 men and 2 women.
Have those invites already been sent out?
Supposedly
they have.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tommy.
No, you got it.
No, yeah. So the barbell spin also did report the names of the athletes. On one of their Instagram posts, they tagged the 4 athletes.
Yeah, Spencer Panchik, Karin Freyova. I can't remember the exact name. I think is oh my gosh, it's like Redouane El Gadouini. Yeah. So. And Julia Cato as well. So, Karin's won this event multiple times. Julia Cato is technically from South America, but trains and has trained and lived in the UAE. Gadouini is, if you go to his Instagram profile, he claims to be the fittest Arab, and I believe is pretty accomplished overseas. In the past, Dubai has had the UAE national champions competing there. That was as far back as the sanctional era. So when you had like Shahad Boudebs or Mahmoud Salan competing, they typically tried to have someone in like someone of Arab background competing, representing that region. So that
makes sense.
Makes sense. How this happened, and Lauren and I were talking about this earlier today. Is it the biggest deal that 2 spots got swapped for special invites? Kind of. 2 spots, not huge, but you don't want this to to be the rule where suddenly you're swapping out qualification rules and moving the goalposts and changing it after it started. I think that's a dangerous precedent to start for events to be like, it's our qualifying process. We can do whatever we want. And you have athletes and people signing up under the premise that here's what I need to do to make sure I get there and get an opportunity to compete. And quite frankly, because it's Dubai, have an opportunity at a significant prize purse, right? And then you meet those standards, and then you're only told after the fact that suddenly, you're not good enough. You didn't do it. So realistically, it's unfortunate, right? And I think that's kind of what you're going to get sometimes with these off-season competitions. As you venture out of the more mainstream ones, Dubai hasn't typically run qualifiers. They've more so run on invite basis, even when the sanctionals era. You think about the 2018 Dubai CrossFit Championship,
but they've had qualifiers for the past couple of years.
I not off the top of my head.
Like, I know they definitely had qualifiers last year.
It's possible that they did for last year, but even you go back to 2018, like a lot of the people there competing for that first games spot were invite only.
Well, it's been like a mix, right? They've kind of had qualifiers and a mix of invites.
Well, a lot of it's been invite, and there is a host of athletes that go there year after year. They've typically allowed past winners to come if they want, and it kind of varies, but they haven't had as clear and clean of a qualification process some of the other ones in terms of running regular qualifiers that you get into and what you're getting into year in, year out. And quite frankly, it's kind of up to them how they want to run their competition. And in years past, it's been more of like an invitational type event, which isn't necessarily an issue, but people are rightfully upset about the fact that you move the goalpost once you stated it was one thing, so it's unfortunate. And I mean, I guess there is time maybe between now and then that people could withdraw. I mean, Roman withdrew.
Yeah.
So it's possible that those people.
But do we even know if those people are going to be backfilled? Like, I don't even know.
We're what, 2 months out from that?
Would be like. Yeah, it's in December, the second weekend.
It's enough time.
December. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think I'm with Tommy on this. It's like once you set it, that's it. You want to do it for next year, fine. But don't move it in the middle.
Yeah.
Right. And like people in the comment section, and I'm not saying that the comment section is where all of the great info is, but just kind of hearing the dialogue between people and, what the hot takes are. Some people were saying, well, who cares? The competition can do whatever they want, and these people wouldn't be in contention for the podium anyways. But it's not about that. Like, Dubai historically pays out for event wins. And I think that they pay all of the athletes that No, not all of the athletes.
No. Sorry,
right.
I'm not.
All of the athletes.
Yeah.
All of the athletes get paid. So it's like, it doesn't matter that they were 29th and 30th.
Right.
These athletes are now missing an opportunity that they were communicated in advance that they would have had. And that's the issue.
And I would say that, like, do you think it's meaningful that someone who finished in the top 10 would potentially be missing out? And most people would say, yeah, right. Like. Someone who finished 7th or 8th, like at a big event like that, misses out because of a weird qualification adjustment like this. And they're like, okay, well, functionally, as far as like prize money is concerned, 7th through 30th get the same amount.
Dang.
So like it's this year in particular, the prize purse is very top heavy. So I don't think that, just because they would have been 30th, is the best argument. Because part of it too is like for these athletes on the the up and up. I think it was Julia Blaszczykowska and Nordka Bleeker, I think, were the two women, and then Morteza Sedegat and then another Greek, Yorgis, I can't remember his last name, were the two athletes on the way out. Like, Morteza qualified for the games 2 years ago out of Asia, but couldn't go because of a visa issue. Like, Nordka Bleeker was on no shortcuts, but has been on the team scene at a high level. So these are athletes that are looking for very real opportunities to compete. And, yeah, you don't want this to suddenly be a trend that's made allowable for people, because if we're actually trying to move the sport forward and like have the roots of professionalism spread as wide as possible, like stuff like this has to start to fall by the wayside.
Agreed. Okay, well, let's talk about two competitions that did already happen. And this past weekend, we had two, one in the United States, one in Australia. We had Crash Crucible, that was going on, and Colton Mertens for the men, he was your top finisher. Brittany Weiss for the women. And then Taylor Self, Fisa Gaffi came in second. Chris Ibarra and Lydia Fish come in third. And look, that's a competition that is, everyone seems to like it. It's been around for a while, and you talk about like professionalizing the sport and making it better. It seems like that one is starting to creep up into, I don't think anybody would put it in like the Rogue, Dubai, Wodapalooza category yet, but it's, maybe a step down and approaching that level if it stays on this trajectory. That's those are the kinds of things that you like to see from competitions that have run for a while. I think the NorCal Classic is kind of the same way. Like they've just been doing their thing, and every year they build sort of incrementally. They don't try to swing. They don't try to go too big too fast and add too much from year to year, and have been building the slow momentum. Congratulations to everybody who finished on the podium there. And then the other one that happened was the Down Under Championship, which got some attention as well. Amy Kringle.
That's happening.
That's happening
this weekend.
This weekend.
I'm sorry. That. I've been seeing a lot of social media, so that's going on. But that's another one that same thing as maybe it's been. I think it's been around at a higher level, like maybe a little bit above Crash Crucible, but regionally speaking. But these are two up and coming events that if this season structure continues, right, these are two more opportunities that athletes could have to make a little money outside of the game season. Assuming
Daniel and Ricky are on a team, and they're putting out some fun content right now together.
I mean, Down Under, I want to say it's been going for a decade. I might be confusing it with another event, but
it was a sanctional one time, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a sanctional. I was actually supposed to go to that before COVID hit, but that is a long running event down there, and historically, a lot of the DNA of the people behind the scenes working that have helped out with like the old like Pacific and Australia regional back in the day.
Yeah.
So while I think the athlete list is more isn't probably as star studded, there are a lot of athletes that I do think like, hey, if they do really well here, maybe take a flyer on them and pay attention to what they could potentially do this season. Amy Kringle qualified last year. Going to be down there, but then you have athletes like Brittany Weiss you just mentioned, and the roster could change, right? Because travel there is pretty significant. M. DeRoy, who went team this year after qualifying 1 year as an individual. Jesse Smith, who's been on the Invictus teams. Laura Clifton, who was a games qualifier a few years ago. Linda Kiesman was a rookie this year. Marnie Sykes, who's been on multiple top 10 teams at the games. On the men's side, Peter Ellis, rookie. Royce Dunn, who's one of the well-established men down there, and Morteza as well, who unfortunately was on the wrong end of the qualification process at Dubai, has a spot down there as well. So
with some of these individual athletes that go team in this event, would it be safe to kind of compare this to sort of like Australia's or the Pacific region's Wodapalooza, given the timing of it? And
yeah, I could see that because
just
they had some fun teams last year.
Yeah, they did.
Wasn't Tia supposed to compete?
Yes, but she was the year she was pregnant.
That's right.
Yeah, she was supposed to be on a team with Brooke Wells and I think Ellie Turner.
I think that's right. Yeah, and still wound up going, but just didn't compete.
Is this where we got the hombres for the first time? That name maybe. with Noah
I think
and
you're
Chandler
right.
And
yeah.
And they usually stream this, don't they? Like it's usually from what I remember, they've streamed this in the past, and it's looked pretty good.
Yeah, they have. Oh gosh, it's a team. Your mom's ex-boyfriend.
Naming your CrossFit team is about as fun as naming your fantasy football team. It's like very important.
Yeah. Oh man, that's funny.
Well, we'll keep an eye on that. Down Under Championship. My apologies. For whatever reason, I was under the impression that it already took place, but that is this weekend. Another bit of news: drug sanctions that we missed. It's been kind of quiet, which is a good thing on the drug sanction side of things. But there were a couple. Jamie McGarva, who's a masters athlete who finished second in the 50 to 54-year-old division in Duraball. Mm-hmm. Diana Vicitelli at the Fitland Fitness Festival. Same thing. She was the fittest woman in Venezuela.
In the open, yeah.
And has been at the semifinals a couple of times as well. So those are the two that came out. But have there been any others? There's nothing. I can't remember anything coming from the team. I haven't. Nothing from individuals.
Not much.
So this is, if these are the only two, that's got to be a
record.
Because usually there's a handful. I don't know if two is a handful, but.
Yeah, it really comes down to how many tests were administered and how much money was spent on it,
Also because, true. Good point.
As drug testing resources increased in the sport, we saw a significant increase in the, the sanctions. And I think, with a lot of money getting pulled from the sport in the recent year, we've had a little bit quieter years, but
what was the year they did the targeted, they did that targeted testing in Europe where they really went after a bunch of people? Was that 2016?
Yeah. 2016 or 2017.
It was one of those two.
Yep.
Because there had been, I don't know if we're going to ever see that again, but that was when it was, I think the money being spent was, at least on that side of things, was probably at its height.
Well, yeah. And you had people just basically bailing out of the competition.
Yeah, it was pretty obvious. Some people, hey, do they test everybody after this?
Yeah.
No, not just the podium. Oh, no, they test a lot of people. Oh, my back. I got to go. Too bad I can't stay. Oh, man. Okay, well, those are the only two drug sanctions, and that gets you caught up on the headlines for the week. Okay, let's shift gears here, and let's get into our interview for the day. And before we do that, we want to thank our sponsor, another sponsor, and that is Thirdsy, the nighttime collagen recovery drink that is going to do wonders for your sleep and your recovery. It does not have melatonin in it. It is not habit forming. It tastes great. It has GABA, L-theanine, a bunch of ingredients in there that are designed to, or included to help calm your central nervous system, help promote deep and lengthy sleep. I absolutely love it. I take it every night. And as I've said a million times, don't get enough sleep, but the sleep that I do get is now of much higher quality thanks to Thirdsy. You can check them out by either scanning the QR code on your screen or go to thirdsy.com and use our code, same one as before with Kreatures of Habit, TEF, and you will also save 20%. So, as far as your dietary needs are concerned, this show has them covered. You're going to save a lot of things. Instant meals, better sleep. We got both on today's show.
That's pretty much all you need at this point.
More or less.
Yeah. I unlocked a Thirdsy use this past weekend because I went to a concert on Saturday with one of my best friends from growing up. Yeah. And we hadn't been to a show together in a long time. And that feeling after a concert.
Tommy's fading. Oh, we lost Tommy. Okay, now he's back. All right, that feeling. Okay, let's bring him back in. We lost you. That feeling after a concert. That's what last thing we heard.
Yeah, what's the feeling?
Yeah, the feeling after a concert where you're on that high and you can almost feel the amplifiers coursing through your veins. There's that buzz.
A younger me knows that feeling.
Yep. I don't know, Sean. I feel like if you went to a Less Than Jake concert,
actually, they were in Santa Cruz last night, and I didn't go.
Wow.
Yeah, I really.
Why?
Because it was late, and it's just not. It's a lot of effort. I've seen them I've seen them 10 times. So.
Yeah. Well, I basically came home from the concert. I could not wind down. I was just all hopped up on Mountain Dew and just awesome show, and. I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to take maybe a little extra dose of Thirdsy.
The double scoop.
Yeah. And oh boy, that I could there was a point where I was took a deep breath. I'm like, oh, okay. The buzzing's gone.
Good.
Like my ears aren't ringing and I'm good. And then I was out and I slept great. When I usually sleep like garbage after concerts.
Yeah, I do too. Mm-hmm. Thirdtee.com. The code is TEF. You will save 20%. Our interview for today is with Sam Belliveau. Sam is a strong woman who is the four-time Canada's Strongest Woman, just won that competition. She is going to be competing at the Rogue Invitational. And if you have watched the Strong Woman competition before, and the last experience I had with it was back in March at the Arnold Strongwoman Classic, where the women competed on the same stage as the men, as they have been doing for a couple of years now at the Arnold Classic. It was a blast. There were great characters, great moments. The Denny Stone carry, I remember that. It was like one woman after another was putting up these huge numbers. It was really an awesome competition, and I'm looking forward to seeing them in Scotland. So Tommy and Lauren spoke with Sam Belliveau earlier today. Here is their interview with her.
All right, we welcome in now our very special guest, Sam Belliveau. She is competing in the first ever Strong Woman competition at the Rogue Invitational. Sam, thanks so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing ecstatic. I just hosted an extremely big event this weekend. I was just surrounded by strongman fans and athletes, and I'm excited to head to Scotland to be performing and showcasing myself.
And let's dive into that. You just mentioned you're hosting a big event. Can you give us a little insight into what it was and maybe what the vibe and feel is of a strong man, strong woman event like that?
Yeah, so my partner and I are owners of Strongman Corp Canada here. So we are the largest only federation in Canada. We have we had 175 athletes this weekend battling from 18 weight class. We have adaptives to teenagers to masters, and we just brought everyone from the country together in my hometown, which made it a little bit more special. Lots of lobster traps, and we had some lobster dinners, and it was just like a really cool weekend all together. It turned out great. A lot of PRs, national records and such. And now I'm dialed back in as of yesterday, and then 24 or 23 days to Rogue.
That sounds like the atmosphere that, I mean, whether you're a strong man, strong woman competitor or fan, that you want to be a part of.
Exactly.
How long have you been hosting that event?
So Max and I have been, we came out with this federation, or we started this federation 4 years ago, right in the mid of COVID. Actually, we knew the sport didn't have to stop because we all had to come still together. And it was just kind of part of who we were, like traveling, seeing our friends competing. Same thing as it comes for CrossFit athletes. We do train alone all year, but it's always fun to come together. So comes 2020, we're like, let's do it. So we created Strongest Woman in Canada, and I've been able to obtain the title 4 years now. So Friday night, we do Friday night under the lights, kind of like you guys. So Strongest Woman in Canada final happens. And then Saturday, we have the 160 amateurs go through the same 5 events. So yeah, we've been just kind of growing the sport here in Canada, and it's so cool. It's especially cool to be part of another side of things where I can go to Rogue and represent my country. And it just means so much more for me when I have all these athletes under me looking up to.
That's amazing. Congratulations on the 4-time strongest woman in Canada. That's an awesome honor, but also it's important, I think, to note that you're creating opportunities for other people, right? Mm-hmm. You mentioned the 150, 160 amateurs that got to go through and do those same events. Is it something that you've always felt like a sense of responsibility to help develop the sport or grow the sport in your home country, or is it something that's been more recent? We've seen strong women come to the forefront more so in the last year or so. And I'm curious where you feel your role is in trying to find the next generation of athletes.
That's a really good question. And I've actually never had this come through, but I've been in male dominated sport my whole life. Like I'm a tomboy, 100%, those like the roars and stuff. Like I used to do that with my cousins in the backyard when we were playing soccer. And, I've just always been such a tomboy. I've played sports my whole life. So playing hockey, I had to stick up for myself. Like the ponytail was not a thing back when I was younger. Now it's grown to be such larger. We have professional hockey players now, which was not a thing. So I feel like I've always had a sense of like showing up for the women's, whatever you want to do. I was a linesman and a referee, but like, you know, like a linesman, man is in the name of the title of what we're doing, strong man, right? I mean, it's been very hard, especially because of now with social media, and there's so many people out there that judges and stuff. But my duty, and I figured this out a couple of years ago, I think when I was given this task as a woman in strongman, it's like keep showing up for the women's that need a place, that need a sport, that need a feeling of fulfillment, whatever it is. Like I've played numerous sports with guys, and I've always just kept showing up because I knew I could, you know, hold my ground and hold my own to eventually have a women's division now, which you see across the board, across any sport. There's so many awesome divisions now, like, or so many sports with a women's division, which I think is great because back in the day, 200 years ago, we were fighting just for a spot at the Olympics. So it's cool to see the growth in the women's, and that's my duty.
What do you think that biggest challenge is then when it comes to whether it's educating people that women are now doing strong woman, or you can get involved with it? It's not just a man's sport. How, like, what are some of the challenges that you face communicating that and getting more women involved?
Of course, because we're still fighting the stigma of like looking for that model on the cover of the magazine. I grew up, my mom had covers or magazine comes in every week or every month, and it was like thin, super thin, salad for breakfast, salad for lunch. So I always grew up with that stigma. Like it's crazy to think, and like knowing that you can create your own sense of beautiful, knowing you can create your own sense of like who you want to believe, who you want to actually truly be, is something that it's come with a lot of work. But like I think with like just trusting yourself, trusting the people that love you, that believe in you, and that you're always doing something not only for everyone but for yourself. So strongman, it's super intimidating because of the name. I think it comes with a little sense of like, of course it's not for women's, but like we just gotta keep showing up for everyone and posting it out there that like, yeah, we have a place. Yeah, it's badass seeing women pulling 500 pounds, 600-pound deadlifts and walking with these crazy implements. And I think it's just a little stigma that still stick around out there, and we'll get through it. I think it's just by keep showing up. Like I think right now we're breaking that barrier, and that's why I'm showing up.
Yeah, that kind of touches on what my next question was going to be. Is do you feel like the tide is turning? Because we come from a CrossFit background primarily, and we have seen that some of those stigmas start to fall by the wayside, whether it's just women picking up a barbell or doing something other than just, you know, sitting on an elliptical or going for runs and cardio and things like that. And we see it in the gym, you know, the mom, the grandma, the daughter starting to realize, oh, this is a pursuit I actually genuinely enjoy.
Yeah.
And on the strong woman side, do you start to see that kind of blossom a little bit as well in recent memory?
Yeah, I honestly, it's so cool because I just started 3 classes of CrossFit. It's more like a functional training, and it's for women's only, but I cross a lot with strongman because obviously it's what I do. So we have like extremely smaller, you know, sandbags, dumbbells, logs, and so I cross over with strongman and CrossFit in my classes, and it's crazy how the women's love it. Like, you know, like they just absolutely enjoy picking up something heavy and putting on top of a platform, or they go home and they just feel so empowering. And I think that's something that people just need to realize, is that like moving weights is just physically and mentally making you so much of a better person, because now you can conquer emotions that you were maybe not used to being able to conquer. And I think that's my biggest thing, is that I've lost so many people in my life. I feel like I've lost so many loved ones by tragedies, deaths, and if it wouldn't be for the barbell now, like I wouldn't really know how to deal with my emotions. Like it's truly put me such like of a hard soul of like everything happens. It's not always going to have an answer right away, but you just got to keep showing up for yourself and making yourself better emotionally for what's coming up in life. And that just trickles on into everything else. So if that makes sense.
I love that. No, that does make sense. And I think it's so important to have spokespeople like you in the community driving that narrative forward. And now you get to be part of the new format, new division that's happening at the Rogue Invitational and new venue. What were Like, were you part of some of the conversations that were happening behind the scenes, whether it was with Rogue specifically, or maybe just the other competitors in the division, of like what this could really turn into?
Yeah, so obviously last year we had the shot to be on the pro stage at the Arnold. I think we made so much noise, we knew it was coming. Like, the live stream was crazy about the women's, and also like the fans. Like, even just this year when I went out for my world record, I kid you not, these 5,000, 6,000 people elevated me off my feet. And I was like, women, like, we're changing something. Like, they are actually here for the women. And at first, it was a lot of talks about, like, do we have a place? Like, I'm not saying all 10 other guys are 100% okay with us being there competing, right? There's always going to be talks about, like, have you guys worked hard for your spot with us? We are the strongmen, right? Like, we have the spotlight, and we're still breaking barriers. We're still, showing up and making sure that people know we're here. But I knew back at the Arnolds, I'm like, something's cooking, girls. Like, they have to bring us to Texas. At first, it was Texas, right? So,
yeah.
And then, yeah, when I got my invitation, I just blacked out for a minute. And then when I woke up, actually, I was in the middle of a workout, and I remember just like turning probably in the middle of like rush hour at the gym, and I'm looking for Max, and I'm like, where is he? And then anyway, it was so great. And then I'm like, we are part of the change, we are part of the movement, we are part of like the growth of the sport. That's intimidating by some. A lot of people do think we're intimidating, but I think it's great that we're taking part, because it just makes absolutely sense. We work just as hard, we put in just as much time, and I think it's just going to be so cool to see CrossFit and Strongman, both sets, compete all weekend. It's going to be quite a weekend.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see the competition, and we got bits and pieces of it in the years leading up, whether it was the Rogue Record Breakers moments that we got to see with whether it was like the Denny Stones and Skinny. I can't remember her name. The first woman to pick up the Denny Stones, and I think
Chloe Brennan.
Chloe Brennan, yes, that I remember seeing that, and the place just popping off and being like, oh my gosh, yeah, there is something here, and it is cool to see, as you mentioned, something that has helped you process so many emotions and things, maybe on not necessarily positive, right, as an outlet for you to help process things. Now turn around and give you some really cool moments, and I want to touch on the SEER dumbbell record that you hold, 185 pounds. You did it twice. You're the only woman to put it over your head. You did it twice. Tell me what that moment was like, knowing that you're doing something that no one else has done, and getting to channel that emotion and like take us back to that moment. Because if people want to watch, it is on your Instagram, and it's just freaking awesome.
It's awesome.
Honestly, take me back any day. But so after I was one of the first ones to go, so I kind of had like a set plan on like what dumbbell to go out there and hit first. I also wanted to go feel the crowd, feel the judge, feel the set. So I didn't right away go to the world record. I'm like, okay, let's go to 175, have a good rep out there, and then you get another shot, because it was like accumulating points and what. So when everyone went, I kind of saw where everyone was. You can't add too much weight to a dumbbell. It is such a technical, hard lift. And I knew, okay, when my second time around came around, I'm like, you hit this for a double, definitely it's in your pockets. And I knew. So when I come out, Max had a plan. He's like, you look down after that second rep. If there's more than 10 seconds, you hit it for a third. If not, we walk away. So honestly, it felt so light. Like, I can't even, like, the crowd helped me so much. It was like I could have done 200 for a double that day, and I'm not just saying that. Yeah. Let's go Rogue. But yeah, so it was honestly the best moment of my life, like in a strength sport, like in strongman, and it changed. It gave me so much belief. And again, this is what empowers women to keep doing shit. It's like, we keep showing up. We get moments like this. It's like, fuck yeah, I'm going to keep showing up. Like, you want to bring me to Rogue, I'll put on a fucking show, because you guys gave me the fans. You guys gave me the good, positive energy. And it's making this like really rough prep so worth it. We show up, you guys appreciate it. And it's like, these moments are like so goddamn special. It's cool.
Yeah, it really is. And I remember showing that highlight to a few people at my gym, like, you know, a couple of the dudes in my 430 class that I go to, and I'm like, hey, how much do you think you put overhead with one arm? They're like, oh, I don't know. And I show them that, and they're like, damn, that's freaking awesome. And it's like, it's cool that there's also a place too where people can just honor and respect feats of strength like that, right? You know, because it didn't always exist. Maybe it did in the old world, but in very selective groups. But now there are people that can mentally be like, that is crazy, and, you know, give credit where credit's due. And I think that's only the beginning.
Thank you.
How did you realize that was something that you would excel at?
Honestly, it's like I was stubborn with it at the beginning. Like, I was pretty decent right from the get-go, and then in 2020, I went to the Arnold at the record breaker, tried to hit I had Donna, Andrea Thompson, and Des Filthy, and Christian Rhodes, Christian with me on the platform. We were all trying to hit the 175, and I missed it. I missed 165 in the back. I was so upset because I didn't have the same dumbbell. So mine was a little different, and it was just, I was getting close to it. But anyway, so Arnold 2020 record breaker was a disaster. I went back home. I was in a freak accident not long after. A 250-pound axle fell on my pelvis, and it really bruised a lot of my pelvis. And I just 6 months ago now just got better. So it's been a long road to recovery, but ever since then, I had to completely change my technique. I had to completely change myself as an athlete. Like, it's not just about showing up and lifting weights anymore for me. It's about showing up, proper form, proper warm-up, proper technique, proper everything for me to be able to excel in XYZ lifts. And those little percentages of everything you do every day. And I just started drilling that in every technique, everything I did. And then dumbbells started like increasing, and Matt's like, girl, you're getting strong. And I'm like, and then he's like, okay. And then I hit the Canadian record at 160. And then we just started building. And then when Arnold announced a max dumbbell, I was like, oh, we're going to put something crazy. And so, but my max dumbbell in the gym is 198 pounds. I did that last year in the gym for a qualifier. But I know I can hit 200. I'd like to, before finishing my career, my goal is 100 kilo. So, yeah.
Good goal.
That's awesome. Oh, that's awesome. I'm curious, kind of touching on the sport and the training in general, because you mentioned some huge numbers there, and you also mentioned that you know, you didn't have that exact same dumbbell, but it seems like with companies like Rogue and the popularity of the sport, like access to training and implements and you know, strong man, strong woman, like equipment is just much more common. What is it about the training specifically that you think most people get wrong or is misunderstood? And I say that as people who might be listening to this and could be interested in maybe getting into it at some point.
Like, the misconception about strongman is that, like, you have to be a freak of nature to do it. You have to be strong and big and meat and tattooed and, you know, like this is the new strongman. And like, we have beginners class of strongman. You can start with like so much little weight, as much as you want. But the big thing about strongman is that it carries over to life. Your farmer's walk are your grocery bags. You're picking up Atlas stones and sandbag, or picking up your grandkids from the floor, and then et cetera, et cetera. Your overhead log could be you putting up something on top of your cupboards in your kitchen. It's just things that people like. I always say this to like the new kids that are coming in. I'm like, this is just gonna help you grow older, better, and then you'll just be more badass because you're a strongman. But I'm like, it carries over to so much, and that's what I think a lot of is. And I say this over and over, but my master women's, like, we have a great group, and they're just so badass because they literally are like transforming into women that they didn't even know that exist inside of them. Because 20-40 years ago, it was like, you go home, you clean, you cook, you do your things. Now they can actually have time. They take the time to go to their gym and build on themselves. And then now they get home, and if they're emotionally, they can be in a very different rough relationship, they'll actually stand up for themselves. And it just starts to build characters in women. And that's kind of like the whole part. It's just about strongman is really great in the gym, but it carries over emotionally and physically wider than just the gym.
As you mentioned that, I just realized like my mind went there. I had to pick up. So my wife and I are about to have our first kid, and we got like our stroller car seat combo in this gigantic box.
Oh boy!
I squatted down and like basically picked it up like it was a stone.
Yeah.
and I didn't even think of that. You saying that registered. So 100%. I love that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When you're looking at the growth of the sport and trying to get more people involved, you're from Canada, primarily hockey players. You yourself have a strong hockey background. Where are you seeing people coming from? Is it those athletes that, retire from hockey and want to get involved in something else? Or is it even teenagers that are just looking for a different sport or vertical?
Honestly, there's such a big wide of athletes, which I think is what makes strongman very unique. We can have people that were gamers their whole life, and then they're like, I need a little bit more of a community physically. They'll start getting started into strongman. Like, the thing is that strongman is a very welcoming community. You can go watch your first strongman show and be like, I want to be part of that. I want to be part of people screaming at me, making being there for me. And it could be like a 5-pound PR or a 20-pound PR. The community comes together, and I think that's what really is really cool. We do have athletes obviously coming back from after university. They're done football, they're done hockey. They do need a sport that's a little bit more static or not as static like powerlifting, just more movements like our sport. And that's kind of why, like, when I started powerlifting, I didn't know about strongman before. I did powerlifting for 2 years, and I was like, this is kind of boring. Like, So then, when I started strongman, it was like, oh, no shit, this is for me. So just moving and stuff. But what's cool is that actually we have a variety of everywhere, every type of athletes, and that's what makes our sport super unique and fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I asked you about the training in particular, and you gave a great answer. And I want to ask the same thing about competing and the sport in general, particularly on the women's side. Is there anything that people may not know about the sport that they get wrong or is misunderstood about what it takes to be, a pro strong woman or compete at a high level there?
Yeah, like there's a big gap, and it's just like the CrossFit world or bodybuilding. There is a big jump when it comes to an amateur to pro athlete. Even just being a Canadian pro to international professional, it takes a long time. People want it now. It takes so much time. Like strongman, it's hard on your tendons, ligaments. If you're not healthy, if you grow too quick, if you start training at RPE 10 for way too long, you're gonna fall off. You're gonna disappear. You're gonna get hurt. Getting back from injuries suck. It does suck general because we have to go back to work. I own a gym. It's different, but 99% of the people that do strongman have to go at their desk job, or they have to go back to their whatever job it is on Monday. So we do know how really dangerous our sport can be, but you have to also take the proper step to get your form in check. Make sure that you have a coach, you have a team. Those things can go a long way. You just gotta take the sport more seriously than it could be, than it should be. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Sometimes it sounds right in French in my head, and then I'm like, okay, why not be this way?
No, it's good. It's good.
Okay, yeah.
Is there something that you're most looking forward to for Rogue, specifically because of the location? Like, have you done any travel searches that you'll make a little bit of extra time on the back end of your trip to explore?
Yeah, I'm super excited. Scotland is a very unique strongman location. It's already sold out. Like, it speaks for itself. I think we're going to have a crazy fan base. I also can't believe that I didn't get the same, but I also got pretty much the same invite as Tia Claire. So that means that I'm pretty much cool now. And I'm okay with it.
Oh, I love it.
I honestly, I am such a big CrossFit fan. Like, I follow each and every athlete, and I just think truly their dedication and their sport is extremely incredible. And for us to be part of it on the other side of, we're doing two total opposite sport, but it's just so badass that we can come together in Scotland, surrounded by fucking rocks and cute cows and a lot of good people, and just throw it all down. I'm super
Cute
excited.
cows.
Yeah. But we're taking a week after to just chill, and I do have Worlds in December, so I got to get back home to training. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Rocks and cute cows. That's all you need.
That's all I need.
That's a perfect
best of everything.
Yep. Sean Woodland, who will be calling the event, has kind of mentioned this before, that it feels like this year, maybe the hierarchy of the Rogue Invitational might flip, where going to Texas, stateside, CrossFit as a sport has deep roots there. It feels like now the order is flipping, like going to Scotland, strength sports, Highland Games, rich history there, that strongman and strong woman might be kind of taking the center stage there. Do you feel like, I don't know, do you feel like that may be the case, or maybe that like this is an opportunity for you guys to like really kind of hit like the boosters there as far as your sport's concerned?
Yeah, I really, really think it's great for all of us. I think we can learn, grow, and be taught by CrossFit athletes, and vice versa, and fans, and vice versa. I do think strongman is going to take the percentage of fans in Scotland. I just think it's because of the nature of the Highland Games, and the brothers are from Scotland too. They're going to bring in so much fans. So I do think we have a little advantage. But I honestly, like, if you're a fan of sports, strength sports, you're going to be a fan all weekend. Like, yeah. I don't do CrossFit, and I'm such a huge fan because it's just so fucking cool. It's so beautiful what they do. And like, same for our sport. And I just think it brings two different blood types on the field, but all for like one badass title. And we're just going to all be sweating and working so hard. And I think it's going to be so cool.
Yeah. Oh man, giving me FOMO. I wish I would.
Yeah. I know. I'm not going either, and I'm so bummed. Sean's the only one that gets to go and have all the fun.
I know.
Oh wow.
You
guys could be my +1.
Oh, I mean, Tommy's gonna have a newborn, but I am available.
A newborn, so I can't go. Good reason,
That's a good reason.
Yeah.
Knowing that this is the first year that they're bringing Strong Woman, do you have a specific goal or like benchmarks that you want to pass in mind? Or is it truly just to go have an experience and try to get this sport on the map to more people?
No, you couldn't have said it better. Like, I want to be there to literally mark the women's on the map, to make sure we are there to stay. We are loud. We're very amazing to watch, beautiful. I just want to make sure that we put on a good show. I do obviously have some great goals for myself. It's such a strong field. I don't expect myself to say, oh, I'm going to go out there and win, but I do expect you can expect a really good dogfight out of me. Being one of the smallest athletes, I won't give up. I know where my strengths are. I also know where my weaknesses, and that kind of puts me in a very middle ground athlete. And that's kind of just what I want to showcase. I want to represent my country. I'm so fortunate to be able to be the strongest woman in Canada and go out and represent at Rogue, even if it's only 3 weeks later. I put on my different hat, and then I'm heading out there to inspire the women's here in Canada. And yeah, I just want to make sure that we're put on that map.
No doubt. And my last question, centers around competition. We talked about the dumbbell and your strengths there, but if any new fans of Sam Belliveau get to see an implement or something show up in the programming slate for the Strong Woman, what should they be excited about you getting to attack? Is there something you're looking forward to, or what should we keep our eye out for?
There's that overhead press medley, but there's a couple other things afterwards that are heavy. Like, we have a heavy axle, but I'm feeling super strong. There's like the power medley, which is like the yoke to power stairs. I think that'll be a really good event for me. I'm also looking forward to putting a PR on my deadlift. First event of the weekend. I haven't PR'd in a long time, and I know it won't change much myself in the standings, but if I can gain myself a PR, I think that's a big win for me. So
what's your current PR?
Yeah, 5:35. So I want Yeah, I think this third bar they changed it. It's 545, which would be a 10-pound PR. So I'm gonna hit that and be super happy. Oh.
Heck yeah!
Hell yeah!
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. I love
Yeah.
that. Oh, well, Sam, we really appreciate you taking the time to chat with us, share more about the sport of strong women, share more about your journey and your role in the sport, helping grow it in Canada and really worldwide as the sport starts to take roots in other places. Best of luck out in Scotland. We'll be cheering for you, and maybe have you on sometime in the future to kind of maybe reset for the rest of the year.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. If you guys want to book last minute flights, I'll pull out my futon.
Thank you.
No, but thank you so much for having me, and thank you for actually putting our sports out there and talking about us. I mean, exposure is really good. People need to see us out there and look what we can do. So I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
No
you
doubt.
guys are awesome. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
Big thanks to Sam Belliveau for taking the time to do this, to do that. And I remember the thing that I remember the most about her, now aside from her amazing performance on the dumbbell press, was the amount of gratitude that she showed every time that she stepped out on the competition floor at the Arnold Strongwoman Classic. And the other female athletes need to be included in that as well. They were all thanking the crowd, hyping them up, always saying thank you to people, taking time with the fans. It was really cool to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool hearing her just share the hype moment from that like record-setting performance, but also seeing how she's like actively involved in helping grow and spread the sport within her community, right? Like her and Maxime Boudreau are at the forefront of trying to grow the sport in Canada and doing really good work, hosting events and running that event. So, it's cool to see. It's nice to see strength sports grow, and I think this upcoming competition is a potential lightning rod for them
for sure.
Yeah, paving the way for more opportunities, and she was awesome to talk with, and it's going to be fun to see her at Rogue.
Yeah. And if you're a CrossFit fan who's going to watch Rogue, and maybe you don't watch a lot of strongman, strong woman, first of all, watch it because it's a lot of fun. And there's so many parallels between the community aspect of everything, because when I first got introduced to strongman, it was 2019. It was at the Arnold Strongman USA in Santa Monica. And it is crazy how welcoming that community is, how they will help you with whatever you need. It's as supportive as a CrossFit community, and it's fun to watch and check it out because they got some great characters and you're going to see some really cool feats of strength at the Rogue Invitational. And I've said it before, I actually think that the CrossFit competition, because it's in Scotland, might be the undercard to the strongman, strongwoman competition. It is so popular over there. I think it was more of I think when it first showed up at the Rogue Invitational here, it was super cool because you had all those great implements out in the outfield of Dell Diamond in Round Rock, Texas. It looked great, but I think a lot of people were sort of like, what is this? What's going on? And now you're going to have some and there were hardcore fans there, don't get me wrong, but there were going to be a ton of fans in Scotland. It's going to be fun to watch. Okay, let's get to, do we have any community support that we need to mention? I'll mention it again, just if there's anything you guys can do to help out the victims of the hurricane on the Eastern Seaboard, North Carolina, Florida, please do. I know there's some CrossFit gyms that are dealing with some stuff there. So, reach out to them and take care of your folks, because there's a lot of people who are, we're not very fortunate coming out of that. So
for sure.
Okay.
Get some PR. I got some PRs.
Yeah,
no
PRs,
reps.
No reps. All right. I'm going to no rep. Should I start? I'll start. We'll start with no rep. I'm going to no rep my dog Dozer, who swallowed one of those squeakers from a toy. And I've seen that dog. That dog is eating socks, underwear, towels, you name it, and it's all come out the other end. This one, after 3 days, it's like, okay, so something is wrong because he wasn't eating. Veterinarians are awesome. Don't get me, anybody who takes care of animals, but I can't believe how much I paid for the surgery. And what am I going to say? No. It's highway robbery.
Yeah, besides my house, my dog is the most expensive thing I own.
That's it, right? Because once it's either you do this or your dog is probably going to pass away. It's like, okay, well, I have to do it. And they just keep adding on the charges. It was ridiculous. I could not believe the amount of money. I'm thankful they did it. Everything worked. It's all coming at he's doing great. But that idiot dog cost the Woodland family a lot of money.
Such a big doofus.
So does he keep like the stuffed animal together and just tear it apart to get the squeaker?
More or less, yeah. Yeah, he just eviscerates the thing and then starts pulling all the fluff out, and then But I don't know. That was so. No, Dozer's in the proverbial doghouse for a while, so to speak.
Oh man, the literal doghouse and proverbial.
Unbelievable! It was highway robbery what they do to you in there. Like, this is the service. Here's our service. This is what it costs. There's a 30% emergency fee, and I'm like, wait a minute, you're an emergency hospital. Why are you charging me for what is on the title of your business?
Oh, that's sketch.
Yeah, like this is not a surgery you just schedule.
There's a 30% bonus charge for the service that we are created to provide.
And God bless veterinarians. Again, I love you people. You do a fantastic job. But the system in which you're working anyway, that's my no rep. Yep. Tommy, no rep.
I'm gonna no rep. There's a cheater in the Dubai qualifier. They announced.
I heard about this.
Ago. Yeah, that
cheetah, pumpkin eater.
Yeah, that someone edited their video to get a better score.
Trevor Bachmeyered it. Remember Trevor Bachmeyer?
Yeah, Trevor Bachmeyered it. Yep. the old what? Why do 10 rounds when you can do one and loop it?
Yep.
Shoot it on a potato.
Fade the cuts. Hope we don't.
Yep. It just joins the ranks of classics like No Jump Rope Guy.
No Jump Rope Guy was great too. Yeah.
Yeah, edited in the
yeah. Just what are you doing?
So the sound effect, but not the rope. No,
equipment? He didn't have a rope.
Yeah,
no.
He always set the handles down out of frame, so he'd like pick them up, and there was actually no rope, but he would like immediately start jumping,
twirl them really fast. Yeah, and he would. Like just
do the workout.
Yep.
But are you guys worried? Okay, this is maybe a separate podcast, but are you guys worried that now with the use of AI that people are going to start, like for online qualifiers, just having like AI create the video?
I don't know if it's I don't know if we're to that point yet.
I don't know if it's that
I've
good
seen
yet.
a lot of wild things out there.
I know, but
like, haven't you on Instagram Reels? Don't you get the like, what video is the real person and what is AI? I have no freaking idea. Like, they trick me every time.
Yeah, I don't know enough about. I mean, I've used it, but not nearly for that purpose. I think we're along. Well, I shouldn't say that.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not worried about that yet.
I mean, if not, my brown ass is going to the game, son.
Going to be pretty soon to be a bunch of people out there who can't like do a muscle up or double unders. I don't know how we got here.
Yeah.
So. No rep on the cheater. Lauren, you got a no rep?
Yeah, I don't have a no rep.
All right, good.
I don't.
All right, well then we'll go back around. So give us a PR.
Okay, a PR is that there is no snow where I live.
Yes.
But other places in my region have snow.
Okay.
So I'm going to PR the safety of not having snow yet.
All right.
Nice.
Yeah, we're not going to have snow ever. Well, maybe in February. I might. Tommy, PR?
I'm going to PR Jim Harbaugh.
Head coach of the LA Chargers.
The LA Chargers.
The San Diego Chargers of LA.
Yes. Yeah. Had to leave the sideline this weekend. All-time football guy move this weekend. Had to leave the sideline for a little while because of a heart arrhythmia. Doesn't go back to the locker room. Goes into the blue tent first like an athlete. Just has to go into the little pop-up blue tent. And then goes into the back. And then comes back out and finishes. And they asked him about it. They're like, is your heart okay? He goes, yeah, whatever. Hey, you know what? I'm 2-0 with arrhythmias because he's actually had this issue before, and both times they won the game. So he didn't even care about his ticker. He just cared that every time the arrhythmia comes up, they win the game. That's a football guy move right there. I'm 2-0 with arrhythmias.
That is crazy.
Oh, wow. Hilarious. That's competitiveness right there.
I guess they're going to have, the get back guy who's always telling people to get back. That's going to be like the heart attack guy, or just the scare coach guy so he gets the arrhythmia and then we can win the game guy. Like, that's his new job.
He's just got that guy's got a paddle and act like one of the two paddles that they use. And then I'm also going to PR charge nurse Keely. Gave us a tour of the hospital today.
Nice.
Getting ready for the or at least the labor and delivery area that the hospital we're going to use. Fantastic. Super personable. Put us both at ease. Ready to go.
You're going to be fine. Just remember the bag. Whoever's in charge of the bag, take the bag.
I'm the bag man.
You're the bag guy. Don't forget the bag.
Boy.
Got to bring the bag. Yeah. What were you going to say something, Lauren?
I have a second PR.
Oh.
LinkedIn.
Oh God, what happened now?
Oh gosh,
your social media stories usually are like devolve into something terrible. So what is it?
Is this a dating story?
Yeah.
Oh God,
I knew it.
Right,
I knew it.
Here we go.
I have a date from LinkedIn.
A date from LinkedIn.
Yeah, so I'm gonna title it "Love on LinkedIn."
Love on LinkedIn. Okay.
Your skills match up perfectly.
So bold strategy, Colin. No, let's see if it pays off for him.
No, he's in finance.
Okay. Finance.
Oh,
fantastic. Wow. Well, best of luck with this one. LinkedIn, ladies
I will
and gentlemen.
update you guys after the date.
I'm sure you will. When is the big occasion?
Possibly. Friday.
Okay.
Are you at liberty to tell us what you're doing, or is that giving away too much?
Oh yeah, we're just gonna get coffee and go for a walk.
Go for a walk.
Very
have him show you his Excel spreadsheets. Because you seen that? Have you seen that shirt? It's got an Excel sheet on. It's like freaking the sheets.
Yeah.
Oh God, I
appreciate a good Excel spreadsheet as much as the next guy. All right. Well, best of luck. I'm glad LinkedIn worked out for you in that way. So
thank you,
PR
Sean.
to LinkedIn.
Thank you.
I don't know if I have a PR. I'm going to PR Tommy's wife, Tiffany, who's coming to the end of her 9-month pregnancy.
Yes.
God bless you, Tiff.
She's doing the real work.
Yes, she is.
Yes,
she is. Your support staff now. Your backup quarterback holding the clipboard guy now for the.
Although,
did you clean up the supplements from this morning, Tommy?
I did. I had a mishap before an interview with Sam this morning, so I cleaned it up. But I gotta get my hands ready. I'm gonna try and catch the baby.
Oh, are you? Okay.
Yep.
They had my wife actually pull Max out herself. Like she reached down and like
that's cool.
I was like, damn, that's savage.
Whoa.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was pretty cool. So maybe, I don't know, if you're gonna do that, God, let me know how. I didn't do that. I was just like, there's people a lot more qualified in this room than me to do any of this stuff. So I'm just going to stay the hell out of the way. Like,
including your wife.
Yeah, right. No, that's your body, your choice. You come go for it.
Go for it.
Oh, I love it.
All right. Well, hopefully, so your due date, when's the due date? Like a couple weeks, right?
Halloween. Yep.
Okay. So we're T-minus 2 weeks here.
Yep.
Okay.
It's the final countdown.
Baby watch.
All right, everybody. Big thanks to our sponsors for today, Creatures of Habit, creaturesofhabit.com. The code is TEF, Thursday.com. The code is also TEF. You will save 20% both places. Thanks to Sam Belliveau for stopping by. We will continue our Rogue Invitational previews in the coming weeks, as that's the next big one up. Can't wait for that, and continue to keep you updated on everything going on in the CrossFit and fitness space. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks for watching, everybody. For soon-to-be dad, Tommy Marquez, and LinkedIn dating aficionado, Lauren Khalil. I'm Sean Woodland. Take care of each other. Be better. We'll talk to you guys next time.
Like a kiss at the start of a first date. If it's good, I don't want to wait. When the feeling's right, I'm taking it.